Hello, and welcome to Hall Talk. My name is Frank Frasco, and I'll be joined by my panel shortly. But first, let's break down the very busy past week in Seton Hall sports. Men's and women's soccer both kicked off their respective Big East home openers, and it was definitely a tale of two matches. Men's soccer had an impressive 2-0 win against Marquette, led by a stellar performance by freshman C.J. Tiebling. As for the women's team, they were shut out by a very talented DePaul. Final score 3-0 a few hours prior on the pitch of O&T Carroll. Volleyball is also in a bit of a hole right now, suffering a 4-game losing streak after getting swept by Georgetown on Wednesday. How will both women's soccer and volleyball bounce back? You'll find out here. This is Hall Talk. And we welcome you back to Hall Talk. I'm now joined by my panel, Rob Ruszkowski, Tommy Rinaldi. Tommy, your debut.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to my colleagues about sports.
Very cool. So we're going to go into men's soccer, jump right into it. So recap Marquette. Recapping and looking back at them, 2-0 wins, freshman C.J. Tiebling. Besides his 2 goals for that game, what were the other star players? I'll start with you, Tommy, that you really saw step up for Seton Hall.
I thought Carlton McKenzie did a great job playing the game. He was one of their strong forwards, creating a lot of opportunities. And I think that if he could capitalize on certain goals, it would have been an even stronger game from Seton Hall. And he had one very close goal when he cut through about 3 people. That would have been really nice to see.
Rob?
For me, I think C.J. Tiebling has to be the player of the game. If he scores 2 goals, you can't deny that. He's only a freshman, Big East freshman of the week. And I really just think he was dominating in that game. I mean, especially with the backflips too, the big T, he always comes out with those celebrations.
I would have to say the defensive duo of Arvidsson and Fredrickson, they played a full 90 minutes of action against Marquette and helped the goalkeeper Noda only have 3 shots on goal. So I would have to say with a dynamic duo, to win a game like they won, you have to have stellar defense, and I think those two definitely stepped up.
Of course.
So moving forward in terms of more Big East action, because they just opened up that home game against Marquette. They played St. John's last week at a 1-0 loss. Coming up, it's a big game. So they just actually had a game that was canceled against Fordham.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they were number 25, but now they go up 16, and now they're playing number 9, creating 6-1-1. They beat Butler 3-0 in their home opener. What are you looking at? What's the key player, Tommy, they have to see for Creighton when the Pirates face them?
I'm actually going back to Carlton McKenzie for this. I think that if he can execute his shots and be the team player that we know he could be, as shown by this past Marquette game, I think he'd be great. He has 2 goals on the season. I think he could push forward through that and do a better job.
Rob?
For me personally, I think it's going to be the goalie, Andreas Noda. I mean, it's going to be a really battle of the defenses, battle of goalies. Andreas Noda on the year is giving up a .95 goals per game, and the Creighton goalie is giving up only .36, which leads the league, by the way. So really, I don't think the Pirates are going to score a lot. So it's really going to be up to Noda to hold that down, and block anything he can.
Looking at Creighton right now, so 2 players really pop up for me on Creighton, on the Blue Jays. Sven Koenig already having 5 goals on the season, and Luke Hackinson, 2 goals, 10 shots on goal. So this is a team that could score. Prediction for this, do they get the win, do they get the loss? Number 9, Creighton. This is a new team run by Lindberg. So a tough game, but do you think they pull off the win, or is it just a game that they have to really look past?
I think it's going to be a tough game, but if we could fire on all cylinders like we did for the Marquette game, I think they have a good shot. It'd be nice to see a big win for them against this team.
Rob?
Well, it's worth noting that the last time Creighton played, last time we played Creighton, was against when they were number 25 last year. It was at home O&T Carroll Field. We won it. So hopefully we'll be able to get a similar prediction, similar result this time. But unfortunately, Creighton's on a 5-game win streak. I think they're going to make it 6. They're just too dominant. They've just been plowing through the Big East so far, and I don't think we're going to be able to stop them.
So this is a team that has a new coach, Andreas Lindberg. He wants to win, and they were on track early on in the season to have 9 to 10 wins. They're on track with 8 right now. There's 7 remaining games left in the Big East Conference schedule. What's your final record for them? How many wins and how many losses in the next 7 games, and why? Tommy, I'll start with you.
Okay, I think they're going to go to 3-4 for those last 7 games. They have tough Big East play ahead, and those first 3 games, they're going to hopefully get those wins, but those Big East games, it's going to be tough. They have a big matchup against Xavier. That's their senior day. And we're going to look for people like Spencer Burkhart and Gabriel Viola, who really need to step up as seniors to make sure that this team does well.
Rob?
Personally, I think they're going to go 3-1-1. I'm going to predict a tie in there. It's a little hot take there. But for the game I'm looking at is Georgetown at home. It's Alumni Day, UN Senior Day, I want Alumni Day. Georgetown's currently 5-3-1 overall. They're the 2-time defending champ in the Big East tournament, and they're 1-1 in conference play right now. So I think that's going to be a huge game and a huge test for the Pirates at home. It's going to hopefully be a big crowd, and hopefully they can pull off the win.
So really going into the tougher non-conference games, they were tracked to get 8 wins. I think they're going to get 8 wins total for the rest of the season. So I predict a 4-3 record for the remaining 7 games. And the big game is going to be NJIT, the team they haven't played since 2013. And they also, in 2013, play them in the middle of the conference season. So it's a non-conference game right down the street in Newark and NJIT. And it's going to be a tough matchup because you're going to be going up against a Big East action, then going non-conference is a whole different mindset. But we were lucky to have Christian Gardner and Liam Plate had a post game for Marquette. Let's see what they had to say.
Hi, I'm Christian Gardner.
And I'm Liam Plate.
And we're here at Owen T. Carroll Field as the men's soccer team just took on the Marquette Golden Eagles. Now, the offense was really firing, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Came out really strong and just got a great attack going and tried to get in the box as much as they could.
That's for sure. And C.J. Tibbling came out firing in the 2nd minute.
Yeah, 2nd minute right away. He was very aggressive the whole game, and right away you saw that he was in it to win it.
Now, it was a sound win on both sides of the ball, on offense and on defense.
Yeah, especially with Nota and Burkhart heading out the defensive front, and Marquette had a lot of missed opportunities, especially on corner kicks, but I think a lot of that was due to the Seton Hall defense.
Most definitely. They couldn't get anything going. That Pirate defense was just stifling tonight. Now, in the second half, Tibbling was still aggressive, scoring in the 2nd minute of the second half in the 47th minute.
Yeah, Baraz was on the left side of the goal, but then Tibbling, being the smart player he is, put it in the right corner and just let it fly.
The Pirates went on to win the game 2-0 off of Tibbling's 2 goals. They'll take on Fordham on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Pirates improved to 4-2-1 overall and 1-1 in Big East play. For Pirate TV, I'm Liam Plate.
I'm Christian Gardner. Have a good evening. Hi, I'm Christian Gardner. I'm here with Coach Lindberg. Now, taking on this big team, what was the game plan going in?
We had to make sure that we were tight defensively, stay disciplined for the whole time, and then try to score on the chances that we create.
Now, freshman Tibbling really showed out tonight. What can you say about his play?
Today he was excellent. Super happy with him, and we were talking before that he needs to do a defensive job for us, even though he's a forward, making sure that he cuts off the angles, holds on to the ball to us, and then when we get a chance to score them, he's been a bit inconsistent this year. He's had performances like this before against Army where he scored 2 goals. Today, I thought he was by a mile the best player in the field.
Now, what were you seeing on offense from the team? It was pretty sound out there, got a lot of shots.
Yeah, we did. We got to score more goals. We had 18 shots. We can't use 9 shots every time we need to score a goal. It was the same thing against Sacred Heart last week. We had 26 or 27 shots. We got to start finishing these chances a little bit more. But solid, we scored 2 good goals. We could have had a third. Could have got to put the game away a little bit sooner. I'm very happy.
Now, I'm sorry to ask, but there was a big spat in the second half with the ref with the yellow card on Tibbling. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was just disappointed because I didn't think there was much there from Tibbling. We tried to poke and get the ball. It's a foul. I'm not arguing that, but just 30 seconds prior to that, there was a very similar play. I actually thought their player left from the ground, and I thought their foul was worse than Tibbling's was. The referee explained it to me. He thought differently, but I respect the referee. I thought he had a solid game, but I wasn't pleased with that.
It was a big statement win in the Big East.
Yeah, very, very happy with it.
All right, thank you, Coach. I'm Christian Gardner, signing off.
Thank you.
Great work. So now we're going to go into volleyball right now, okay? So They are on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. This is a team that has a lot of seniors, a lot of talent, and a lot of freshman talent too, which we'll discuss further on. But we're going to recap the recent loss that they had on Wednesday against Georgetown. Rob, what do you have for that?
Well, really, it was just an utter loss. I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words as why they did so badly, I guess you could say. Really, the key is they're just getting up these runs. In the first set, it wasn't too bad. They were neck and neck. They lost 21-25. I mean, that's respectable. The second set, though, they let Georgetown go on a 6-0 run. They were down at 10 at one point. I mean, and they lost 16-25. In the last set, I mean, that's when you really need to start the comeback. They let Georgetown go on a 9-1 run, lost 18-25. I mean, that's not great, you know. To lose 3 sets for I think it's a second or third game in the past few. The last 4 games they've actually lost sets 2-12. So that's just utter, you know, destruction right there. That's I don't know.
Tommy.
Going off of those negatives, we'll try to bring it back to the positive. I think that Sophia Coffey had a great game. She led the team with 19 assists, and that she's really been trying to step up as the lead assist person on that team. Hopefully they could be better with communication and do a better job of playing as a team, because it seems like they're just missing easy shots, whether it be 2 people, the ball's going right between them and things like that. It's tough for them to be on the same page, and I would like to see that in the future going ahead.
This is a volleyball team, and as I said earlier, led by 3 freshmen, and you would be surprised about that. Emily Turner, Claire Forrest, and Eden Dolezal. But for Rob, for you, what's the one player that's surprising, hasn't been stepping it up in the way that you expected them to be?
Ironically, as good as she's been so far, I think Sophia Coffey. I mean, she is a senior, like we've been saying. You know, this team needs to be led by seniors, although the freshmen are really who's standing out to me. But I think I'm not sure if Coach isn't giving her a big enough role, or she's just struggling. But I think she really needs to step up in the second half of the season.
So for me, I would have to say Miranda Higginbotham. So it was very interesting that Dolezal, the other libero for the Pirates, she's been actually playing in some games more sets than Higginbotham, who is a senior, the grad senior for the Pirates. So I would have to say, although she's been a big factor for the Pirates offensively and defensively, Higginbotham has to step up. Moving forward in terms of Big East play, so 4 straight losses in the Big East. In terms of this really tough road trip coming up for the Pirates, they have St. John's, Creighton, and Providence back to back to back. Tommy, what's your prediction in terms of win-loss for that 3-game road trip?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a sweep. St. John's is number 4, Creighton's number 2, and Providence is 6th in the Big East. And it's going to be really tough when they can't get any sets against anyone. And against these high-level teams, it's going to be even harder.
Rob?
Well, you were negative this time, so I'll go a little bit positive. I think they'll go 1-2. I mean, that's the best I'll give them at this point. Like you said, St. John's and Creighton are way up there. Providence, that's a team we can beat. That's a team we need to beat if we want to turn the season around. But honestly, guys, it might be too late.
I have to agree with you, Tommy. That would be 7 straight losses for the Pirates, and it's not going to get easier for them. But we're going to move it back to the pitch, and that's women's soccer. They just came off a really tough loss against DePaul, 3-0, in which that was a game in which they were back and forth in the first half, and then all of a sudden in the 40th minute, a great scorer for DePaul, for the Blue Demons, Franny Cerny came out. She fired a shot, and she scored. And then all of a sudden, 2 goals in the second half. Tommy, what did you see from that game?
It was a tough game. DePaul's a really great team, and I think that if Seton Hall played a little bit better, Anna McLean did an amazing job as goalie. She had some great saves, but that 1 or 2 got by her. And I think if Anna McLean could step up, she could do a great job throughout the rest of the season. She's played every game, and she's also,
What was the one player for you that really stepped it up for the Pirates? I know it's a negative loss, 3-0 loss, but there were Pirates that I saw, I was at the game, that really did step it up. Any players defensively for you that tried to get it, because it could have been a 5-0 game. There were a lot of shots that came out of the net that could have gone in. So
It's true. Personally, I think Eva Gonzalez stepped up big time, because from the stat sheet, it looks like they would have got obliterated. You'd be surprised it was only a 2-goal game. I mean, They were outshot 15-7, 9-3 shots on goal, out-cornered 8-1. That means they're not taking care of the ball on their side. And offside, 6-1. That's just sloppy play. But I think Eva Gonzalez really held down the defense. I think we'll be looking for her going forward.
I would have to say Lauren DiPietro. She came out and she had to go up against a tough DePaul player in Jade Erickson-Russo, who was a sub in the game, but she had about 3 or 4 inches on her. And DiPietro played stellar defense. Russo had a couple opportunities to score in the pitch, and DiPietro stopped her. So, they have 2 wins to this season, to their name right now, and hopefully they get more because 2 more wins than last season. They didn't win 1 game last season.
Very true.
Okay, so we're going to finish up. I know it's about a month and a half to go until men's and women's basketball starts. Yes. 2 episodes ago, we went into some schedule predictions for men's basketball. We're going to go into women's basketball. So last week, the women's basketball team, their schedule was finalized. It finally dropped. And it's a pretty tough schedule for the Pirates, a team that they were 16-16 last season. They were 500 flat, and they had a first-round boot out of the NIT by St. Joseph's. So what is one game that you guys are looking for that's going to be a really important game for the Pirates? Rob, I'll start with you.
Personally, I think the game I have circled is that UConn game. I mean, that's the biggest test. You can't get much harder than that. Even though they were knocked out in the Final Four last year, I think that only makes them even harder because they're probably angry. But, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see. It's at UConn. The men will be busy with Kentucky that day, December 8th. They'll be at the Garden. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's a little bit early, but I'm not sure about you guys, but
yeah.
I smell an upset.
Tommy, you.
My game is UCLA at UCLA. And again, that's going to be a tough game just like UConn. And I think that they're going to have a hard time beating this UCLA team. We'll see how it goes. But I guess the biggest part that we could do is they're going to be in LA, so that's kind of fun.
UCLA, a number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament last year. I'm going to have to go with the team that they're going to face before UCLA, and that's Princeton, an in-state rival. They lost to them the last 2 years, and last season they lost by 2 points, 85-83. Just another non-conference loss, but that was the closest loss of 2017 for the Pirates. And right after that, they play UCLA. Let's see if we can get that Princeton win, possibly go to LA, and have some California loving in terms of basketball. So that's all the time we have right now. So for Tommy Rinaldi and his debut, Rob Ruszkowski, my name is Frank Frasco. We'll see you soon.